Welcome to Gray Overload, and we have another week and we have more news. First, let's start off with Framework, though. Framework is doing they have their release of their AI 300 series, Framework 13, and those reviews are out, and the batches are shipping now, which is really good to see. But if you're interested in the Framework 12, that's their a little bit smaller than Framework 13, the 360 convertible touchscreen, that touchscreen that should probably come to the 13-inch. Yeah, they got that out. You can pre-order that. Very little interesting using the 13th gen Intel processor. Something there if you're interested in that. Now, read some of their blog posts on how maybe tariffs are affecting the pre-orders and stuff in the US, and now they are open, but some of the lower models, right? Everything. They have a blog post about that. Tariffs are something I do want to at some point, maybe, I'd like to get a video on. It's taking a little bit of time. It'll take me a little bit of time to organize all my thoughts that I have on it. If I get if I get there, it'll be a little bit longer video, but it's something that I would like to do. I think it could be valuable. I know Gamers Nexus is doing a video at some point too. I think there's a lot of different takes on it, and something, you kind of would like to see more data on, just in general there. So that might be coming. We'll see. But let's get into the Windows side of things. NeoWind, I was on NeoWind this week, video cards and WCF Tech, Bleeping Computer, PC World, a whole bunch of places. But these are, I'll try to remember to go through, but you'll just mention right before some places I've been this week where these news articles, or the places I've been this week where the news articles are from those areas. And we'll see here, NeoWind article is talking about Windows, and a lot of other Windows stuff. I go to them because they're on top of it, and it's one of those things where, you know what, I like to go, and see what Windows is doing and how they are tripping over their feet again. So if you're using the it's a VBS feature. It's a security feature. Um, VBS has enclaves for kind of protection, right? And if you are 23H2 and earlier versions of Windows, these enclaves will no longer be supported. They are deprecated. 24H2 and later do support them. Now, this deprecation also affects Server 2022 and earlier versions. 2025 and later, these enclaves are still be there. So while these enclaves were released last year, they were in, some of these things, which is this virtualized based security stuff, VBS. And while Microsoft says this is essential for Windows security, they are still getting rid of them. Why? There was a security flaw, and Microsoft is patching that in the CVE, and well, it just meant getting rid of it in Windows that they don't care about anymore. That's how I kind of see this. It's one thing, Microsoft talks out of one side of their mouth saying that it is all for security reasons, and on the other side of their mouth, they really don't care. So, this is one of those things, Microsoft, where I'm just disappointed. So, what else is new? I'm disappointed again at Microsoft, right? So, yeah. Microsoft, like with the TPM and the Windows 11, right? You need to upgrade to Windows 11. We need certain processors because they support the security features needed, and here you are dropping security features in your OS that you just don't want to patch, in my opinion. So, where is this level of security, Microsoft? I just don't think you care. I think that you say one thing and you do whatever benefits you, and that means not patching older versions of Windows. That's what you're going to do, and we're seeing that is the truth. Now, another article here from NeoWind. Yeah, this is Microsoft admits to what? They're, and the headline's good, right? Microsoft admits, because they're going through and they're offering Windows 11 to certain machines that are ineligible for for the upgrade. It, this is just such a Microsoft thing, right? Let's let's break something in a way that and offer it to them, and then if you happen to install it and you get the upgrade, Microsoft says the only way to roll back or to get back to the prior thing is to manually be rolled back to the correct version of Windows. So you have to manually do it, not automatic. This is how bad it is. I hope that you're laughing with me. And you're also laughing at Microsoft because this is some of the craziest things, well, crazy, the stupidest things I have seen lately. Yeah, we're gonna have people offering Windows 11, let them upgrade, and realize their computer's not supported for it. And now you have to do the rollback. We're just glad that we're a monopoly in the OS area on the desktop side, and not enough people know how to use Linux yet. So you can't be too mad at us. Oh, okay. Let's move on before I go down that rabbit hole. That's a whole other video in itself, right? Microsoft's was going through and they broke something else. They confirmed that they broke something else, right? They went through and they said Neowind had this too. And let's just read this. We're aware of edge cases where Windows Hello issues affecting devices with specific security features enabled. After installing the update and performing a push button reset or reset this PC from settings and selecting keep my files and local install, some user might be unable to log into their Windows services using Windows Hello facial recognition or PIN. Oh, this is another one of those things. Oh, Microsoft. Uh, they're breaking things, breaking things, breaking things. So, yeah, you have to deal with that. And while we're on it, let's do another one. Yep, here. I, I don't really have good news for Microsoft this week. I just have laughing at Microsoft news this week, which is, yep, Microsoft says that we understand that you're getting an error of installing your April updates. And for this, what was it, KB 5057589, and you may see the following error message, right? They said following error message. I'm not reading off this number too. And just so you know, Microsoft says just please ignore it. We screwed up so bad you got to ignore the error for this. Okay, it's been thank you Microsoft, thank you so much for releasing an OS that is amazing. Um, Actually, there might be some good Microsoft news, but that's related to gaming. When we get to that part, let's jump over to Nvidia. Some interesting news, right? The tariffs are here in the United States, kind of a whole talking point around the world, in certain areas, right? Countries that already have tariffs, right, are responding with tariffs of their own, discussing tariffs, all that other sort of stuff. Well, one of the things that have came out of that, well, one of the many things of all this, is Nvidia is saying, hello, let's, you know what, we're going to produce AI servers here in the United States. So they said $500 billion of AI servers are going to be through TSMC's, and that's going to be at the Arizona manufacturing plant for there. And then I believe, and I don't know if this was Neowind or if it was another article I read from another one of those sites, Video Cards or WCCF Tech, or another site where my mind is eluding me. They are saying that what was it? Foxconn in Texas would then be assembling the servers. So that's something, that's some good news, right? That's, so I guess, here if you're in the United States. So um, on that same topic of tariffs and everything else, you know, the United States does have export controls here in the United States. In fact, I think I mentioned TSMC last week is getting a fine for their export controls of sending some stuff to Huawei when they use US IP in their whole manufacturing process, which prevents it. Yeah, I get it, right? I have to go through export control training every single year and make sure I'm on top of that for stuff I do. But yeah, this is one where Nvidia is saying we are getting a fine. I believe Nvidia is getting a fine, right? Nvidia is disclosing that there was a major hit. I don't really talk too much about stocks, but that kind of took a hit to their stocks. It's billions of dollars hit. Yep. WCCF Tech. I think everyone had this right, and this is going to be a little bit where it's not so much tariffs, but is sort of export controls and restrictions of what you can send where, and this is causing a little ripple effect of, well, what can be exported into China. So the restrictions are the H20 chips, right? There's also restrictions on this, for the export license as well on Intel and on AMD, and both will also be affected. And there's been a report out that there's like a 5 billion charge on that Nvidia is taking for this following the U.S. government restrictions, and then there will be. It sounds like that Nvidia, from some reporting, Neowin had it and others, that you didn't tell the Chinese market, these Chinese customers, how affected this would all be. So take that as what it's worth, but I wanted to post that out there because it is a global economy in some ways, while you have local countries' economies in that are affected by all this stuff. And export controls kind of make a significant, can put a significant issue to some companies. Now, that's where we're at with it. Now, AMD also disclosed it will have a significant hit. So that is something to take into effect. I didn't look too much at their stock today. I can't remember. I could take a look here. I don't think they took the hit. I think we're up in the market kind of overall. Nope. AMD did take another hit today, down a little bit. So after the couple days, Nvidia is still down. So that could be some of it. And Intel also says that even though their export license to sell the Gardea chips to China, right? But it will not take the same hit as uh, AMD and Nvidia, which are the two big players right now. Intel, come on, let's go. I'm rooting for you, Intel. I know you can get there. So just a little bit on that. Let's switch over to still related to some of the tariff stuff, which is TSMC, Arizona's facility, right? Or WCCF Tech had this as well. It seems like that the pricing is going to be a price hike on the 4 nanometer production in the United States. So 30% price hike on the 4 nanometer because of the demand. Like, a lot more people will want that, right? There's even been, Apple has said that they want to bring some manufacturing here in the United States. Well, I think that's all good. I think, each country should have at least a little bit or enough manufacturing stuff. I see this as, redundancies and better supply chains and better manufacturing chains and all that other stuff. If there's a issue, you could say natural disaster that happens in an area that shuts down certain facilities and stuff, you would have manufacturing elsewhere to supply that area, and offset some of the issues rather than being down for months at a time. We've seen this with some storage companies in the past with earthquakes and tsunamis. So this is just some of those things that I like to see because it's redundancy, right? You kind of get built in to kind of at least help somebody else out when they're in a issue of natural disaster until you can rebuild it. But the Arizona facility here for TSMC is seeing a massive increase of interest because of tariffs, and people want to do some more manufacturing here in the United States to avoid that. But you know, we'll see how it all goes and how it's all ironed out here. We'll see how much TSMC can do because I think they got like another 25 billion that they want to put in, and so that's going to be a lot more stuff to manufacture. So let's see here. Let's see. Before I get to gaming, we want to talk about the 5060 has been 5060 Ti, I should say, and that has been released. So if you're interested into that card, you can get that. I did a thoughts video on there, so be sure to check that out if you are interested in that at all. Now, related to the 5060, right? And 5060 is coming out next month. So the 9060 is going to be out. It's a 9060 some variant, right? I don't know if it's going to be the XT or not XT. There's going to be a 9060 out, and they said that they're kind of doing it next month too. We'll see where the prices are, and that I hope is going to continue down a path of getting better prices for gamers. Okay, maybe we're too soon for that. The used market, if you're looking for something used market. But let's go into Nvidia again, and their RTX drivers have been just painful this launch, right? Black screens like crazy, and Nvidia says that they are now fixing those. They had 56 or 56 57.6.02 or the 576.02. I don't know. Why did I say 57? I don't know. But that is now released. They said they're fixing some random crashes. You know, this is fixing black screens. Supposed to be one of the biggest bug fixes they've had from the one of the most rockiest launches they've ever had. So that's fixed. It's good to see. Video Cards had this article as well. And they also had that Nvidia has a demo. Now remember that demo from CES and GDC about the path tracing demo? If you want, you can now download that 108 gigs of space, and you can now try it out. I'm actually going to download it and see what is there. I'm interested in that. Some of the stuff, you know, I'm getting more interested with this path tracing and ray tracing, because I think that now we're finally to a point where cards can start handling it. I'm a little disappointed that the card isn't, you know, able to handle a whole bunch, but like in the 50 series, but yeah, or the 5060, I should say. It's not as impressive as I thought. I thought the 5060 Ti would have been finally the mainstream card that really would have delivered the ray tracing performance we kind of wanted with across the board, and been like going forward. Yeah, we just turn ray tracing on. It's all, you know, these cards can now handle it good enough. But it seems like we're still maybe a generation. I hope only a generation off. If you're using OCCT, the cool part about this, those developers, I wanted to say this because you know it's something I'm interested in and like to see. But now they have a Linux edition. I like to see this right cross-platform. I like to see people putting that out there. So OCCT, you have the ability now to go on the Linux and start using it. So I like to see that they got that done. Good job, guys. Talking about AMD, there's more rumors about the Zen 6 stuff coming out with the Medusa, you know, DDR5 changes, the IMC stuff. I think Moore's Law is dead, kind of had some of this stuff as well, and some of the leakers out there. Been very interesting to see how this is all going together. I'm excited to see what AMD can do with Zen 6. Hopefully that they can continue to push and get more performance out and not just sit down, right? I know Intel's not really been competitive, but if AMD can keep pushing themselves, I like to see that, right? It's sad to see. You know, again, I'm rooting for you, Intel. Come on, let's go, Intel. Let's go. Let's get back in the game. So I'm rooting for Intel too, right? I like that competition, but it's been a rough sailing for Intel here lately, and I'm hoping that with Zen 6, AMD is just still pushing forward and competing. If you can't compete with your competitor, hopefully you're competing with yourself to outdo yourselves of what you've been able to do in the past, which I hope that they are. Now, AMD did go out with and announce that their 5th gen Epyc CPUs, which is all on their server side, right? Data center, AI, all that fun stuff. Every single buzzword out there is going to have. I was reading an article on WCCF Tech, and they were saying that they're being widely adopted. Right, they're going over. It's about 80% increase. I think. Is that how they put it? 80% higher generational performance. So they're getting a lot of people that want to bring it to the cloud, and you know all their partners, which yeah, Zen 5 in there. some of the changes, excited to see some of this stuff, and I'm glad that they've keep moving it. And on the Zen 6 topic, right, AMD did talk about that too after their, um, after some of their talking points here. They've been going through talking a lot. CEO Lisa Su's been talking right there, which they're trying to get their name out there. Well, not just their name out there, but the products out there. So their Venice Zen 6 CPUs are going to be made using the TSMC 2 nanometer process, and that I think is going to be at the Arizona plant. Yeah, and the 5th gen Epyc CPUs are validated at TSMC Arizona. So some interesting stuff here, right? More manufacturing here in the United States using TSMC Arizona. I'm kind of glad that they've gotten, some more manufacturing here of semiconductors of advanced nodes in the United States. We have Intel too, right? And Intel's got their fabs around the world, but somebody's got to use those fabs, right? I know, picking on Intel. I'm still rooting for you, Intel. I'm still rooting for you. So don't don't think I'm not. Intel engineer WCCF Tech again, and they were talking about Griffin Cove, right? So they're saying that that's underneath way Griffin Cove. So this is good to see. I'm liking to see that they're still pushing forward. They're getting their next designs out. We got Griffin Cove coming. I think that's Cougar Cove, right, is coming, and then Griffin Cove is going to be after that, if I'm remembering correctly. So we're kind of getting all these coves of their cores, right, all through, and I'm really hoping that Intel can deliver on these and that they're making a really good product, because again, I like to see them get back to competing in the marketplace again. I think it's important. Um, yeah, I'm Intel's fallen on a little tough times, but we've also seen AMD on tough times. So let's see here. Do we care? Let's see. I was trying to go through. Oh yeah, getting back to Nvidia for a second. I thought I had this in my order, but I guess I skipped over it accidentally. I apologize. But you guys always want to jump all over the place, right? So this is an interesting one. I was looking at this report from WCCF Tech. Now this is was on video cards as well, and it was defective 5070, and it was missing a pin, and of course the user plugged it in, and who knows, maybe you just didn't see the missing pin when you can do it when you're going through, right? I don't know if I've ever looked at the connector of a graphics card when I'm plugging it in to make sure all the pins are in there. I assume that they would be, but this card didn't, and the cable just melted right away. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully that user gets taken care of ASAP, but that is unfortunate to see. So um, let's jump over to gaming, and it's going to be PlayStation focused because, well, even I haven't even turned my Xbox in a month. Well, I turned it on today, and I didn't. I had to do a whole bunch of logging and setting it up again. It's like Microsoft forgot I was even there. But Indiana Jones, right? That's coming to PlayStation, and or it is on PlayStation, right? And that featured some global illumination, ambient occlusions, and shadow improvements. So that's pretty cool. Glad to see that. That's on. I think that's. Yeah, that was who. I can't remember. I was watching the video of this, and now I can't remember who did it. But that's pretty cool. Like to see some of that stuff. So, you get some of the more capable things, and all of a sudden, there's a little bit more features here. Right? It's been out on other systems for a while, and now you're getting that to the PlayStation. And I like some of these features coming out on it. Right? The PlayStation 5 pricing is increasing due to, they're saying, economic challenges, and it is increasing in the US. No, it is actually, you'd expect in the United States, right? Because of tariffs and everything else. but it's actually increasing Europe, UK, and Australia. So that's was unexpected. I wasn't going to see that. That wasn't on my bingo card yet. So the last thing, let's see, let's get this done. Here we're in the gaming side, and rumors are swirling about the PlayStation 6. I'm interested to see where this console market goes because I was listening to Brad Sams, and he did a interesting tidbit in his little Xbox video he did this week, which was Phil Spencer keeps saying that the Xbox is getting or the console generation is getting a year older every year, which is, on the face value, like he said, of course it is. But not as many young people are just jumping into consoles. So every single year, that generation of people playing games on the consoles is just getting older, and you're not getting a lot of younger generation going and playing these consoles, at least on the Xbox side. So where's that going? PlayStation, I don't know. But getting back to the PlayStation 6 is that if they have a portable one, I'm going if right now, I think everyone wants a portable console, and while it makes sense, right, everyone needs to compete, are we going to just be handheld console saturated by the time these consoles handhelds actually get out? Right, you have the Switch, you'll have Steam, you'll have every other one known to mankind that is out there, from the Legion to the MSI one, Claw. What else is there? There's the iOWin Neos, which they have a new one every other day. And if everyone's going to have one, does it? Well, everyone will be tired about this by the time they come out. Who knows? But they're saying that it will be more powerful than the Xbox Series S, which I hope so. At this point, the Xbox Series S will be really slow when the PS6 comes out. But that's, that's the interesting part of this, and we'll see as more leaks come out about this. But if they come out right faster than Series S, that's pretty cool. Now, can you get it even a little bit more powerful and still have low voltage? We'll see. I'm guessing they're going to go with an AMD chip. There, I mean, rumors is that people say it's going to be powered by AMD. But we'll see, right? There's Intel will still try to bid for these and get there. That's not a bad idea of Intel to do these, because if Intel can break into a game console, they have some assurance of at least a cash flow to fund some of these projects, maybe even get their graphics a little bit better. But if I am Xbox, Nintendo, um, PlayStation, Sony, right? I'm concerned about how much effort you're going to put into those GPUs, right? At least I know with even Nvidia and AMD, even if Nvidia can be hard to work with, they are in the GPU market. They do have an ARM CPU that's going to be within our specs. AMD side, they are committed to actually delivering stuff for those consoles and working on those, even maybe a little bit more so than or at least just as much so as their desktop hardware side. So that's where I kind of see that, and that's kind of where we're going to end this week. Let me know if you have any other news topics this week that I may have missed. Maybe next week we'll cover those as well in the comments below. I enjoy reading those comments as well. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. It really does help out the channel. I want to thank you so much for watching Gray Overload, and until next time, God bless.